I'm not saying I couldn't. It would just be very difficult for me. Just like you said, it's difficult for you to talk about it. It would be difficult for me because I think, no matter what's going on in your mind, I think you do have a choice over what you do. That's just my opinion.
Did you choose to like
That's
girls?
just my opinion.
I chose to be gay when you chose to like girls.
But that's
Same
supposedly the way God made us. Supposedly the way God made us.
Like I said, that was a big fear I had when I was growing up. You know, I've known.
I'm not.
I've always known I was gay. I think I hit puberty really early because these two guys told me all about it when I was young.
Hold on, about what?
Daniel's
What
They told me jacking off when I was like 10.
Daniel used to tell me that if you stroke it, he's like, you ever go to the bathroom and it's hard? I'd be like, yeah. He goes, if you just stroke it, it'll come. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, here, give me 1 minute. And he goes to the bathroom, he comes out with semen all over a fucking piece of toilet paper. And he goes, see, this is what comes out.
See, and then Jacob.
He was in 8th grade, I was in 6th. I was like, what the fuck?
Remember when Jacob used to tell me all the time, go jack off or something? He went through a phase where he would tell everybody, go jack off if he was mad at him. And it's
I remember that.
I do remember that very clearly. And
I think he would call you a jack off.
anyways, you could use it that way too, I guess. But anyways, I didn't know what it meant, and he called me out on it. He's like, you don't know what that even means. I said, yeah, I do. And I really didn't. And so he told me about it, and I don't know. But all I know is that, you know, this is not something that I chose. At the most, if I chose it was subconsciously, it's something that people do not know how they choose it. So, but I mean, like I said, I just want you all to be proud of me, and you know, like this, I don't want this to change anything, and I feel like you guys will all love me no matter what, which is great. And that was something.
So what is the limitations on people that you do and do not want to know? I mean, how comfortable are you?
Not that comfortable.
Right now, I just want to let the family know, like the immediate family, which is done now. As I told Mama 2 years ago, and she basically said I was going to burn in hell. But I mean, like I said, I can't. I mean, I just don't feel like God would, you know, not provide a clear way out of this if I was going to burn in hell as the punishment. Like I said, this is not a conscious choice I made. There's nothing I can do. God knows I've tried 10 years to fight this and try to live by His standard or whatever, and there's just no clear way out. So I just don't. I think the Bible was written by men inspired by God, and back then people were not accepting of homosexuals, and so they thought in their minds that it was right. I'm sorry, it was wrong to live your life like that. And
But you got to remember, the Bible was written by people inspired by God.
And
It
it's not
doesn't
that-
matter whether people thought it was what God thought.
Well, they also have room for interpretation of things as well.
well, I mean,
Everybody interprets the Bible differently. I'm not saying that those direct words about it being an abomination aren't true, but I mean, who said that's exactly how he put it?
I mean, there's just certain things,
Sorry.
especially like in the Old Testament. I mean, you're gonna say, look at Deuteronomy. It says you can't sleep with another guy, but Exodus has a whole ass of shit in it that is just completely not what we live by. It's not a socio-cultural way of living these days. Like, like I just don't know of any specifics on my mind right now.
Yeah, but
But
in the New
I read
Testament,
the entire
gospel-
Bible 2 years ago when I got fired at Carrabba's, and like I read the entire Bible, and there's all kind of stupid shit like in Exodus that you're like, what? You can't do this. And I know some of that
I
stuff
read
was
the Bible
done.
from cover to cover too, DJ, and there's stuff in there about daughters sleeping with their daddy so they can have
And I'm
kids
not
and all
condoning
kinds of
that.
stuff like that.
Yeah, not at all.
But there's things in there that we don't necessarily understand, but we can't start picking and choosing what we believe to be right and wrong.
But I mean,
We believe
what?
it all.
That's,
Exactly. It just
I think it's
tells me-
more of a moral standard thing. I think it's like, I mean, if it's okay in the Bible at one point to sleep with your daughter, to have
It
children,
never said it was okay. It was a record of what happened.
Well,
It never said it was okay. These are just things, records of what happened, and then the consequences of what happened afterwards.
I just think that he's got a good point when he says that he didn't choose it. Because, I mean, I don't remember any point in my childhood where I was just like, I think guys look good or I think girls look good. I think I've just always known that I was interested in ass, like in women. Like, that's just how it's been. I never decided, like, hey.
I was always scared as a child that I would die unexpectedly and go to hell because of this. And that was really my driving force to try and turn straight, I guess. And it's just impossible. Like I said, if I could be straight, and I don't want to offend anybody that, you know, is gay, I guess, but if I could be straight, I would be, just because it's so much easier of a life to live, and you don't have to deal with all kind of shit that I'll have to deal with, you know, being out of the closet. But, you know, just the fact that everybody at this table said they love me, and you know, proud of me. He's proud to call me a family member. It just means a lot. So, so I'm not gonna. I mean, I respect people's wishes, and like I know, like it took me a long time to accept myself for who I am. So it can't. I mean, I don't expect you guys to accept it overnight, but you know, this isn't gonna change. I'm ready to just start living my life how, you know, just to be happy. I don't want to be depressed all the time like I have been the last 10 years I know I was gay. I don't want to live sad all the time. You know, I smoke weed. I find comfort in little things that aren't always the best for you. I like to be happy when I can be. I find comfort in food, things like that. I feel like that has a big deal of why I'm somewhat overweight, why I smoke cigarettes, and like all these things I did make conscious choices of that I was unhappy, so I turned to other things. So, you know, if anything, keeping in the closet has only made things worse so far. So, you know.
I'm not saying anything to anybody. That's your choice. If it's your life, if you want people to know, you'll tell them. It's not me. My point to tell anybody.
And I'll be sure to tell people like when I don't care who knows. But like I said, there's just like I definitely don't want anybody that I work with to know at this point, because you know I don't know how people will take it, and I work with them all the time, and I work every day. And I don't want
your coworkers, they don't need to know your personal aspects of your life unless you.
Well, one day, I mean, I think it's one day I'll eventually just kind of stop lying about liking girls to them, and I'll just be like, yeah, you know, I don't think it would be like a sit down. Like I'm not gonna go to everybody like, yeah, I'm this, yeah, I'm this, yeah, I'm this. You know, I'm just going to, you know, when people start asking, one day I'll just eventually feel comfortable with saying, well, I'm actually, you know, gay, and I don't, you know, I don't know. But anyways, I'm glad that's over with. Finally, 10 years put to rest.
Well, I love you, son, no matter what you do. Just, you know, be careful and make sure it's what you want.
Well, it's
Because-
not exactly what I want, but
Well, then,
But
then
I
you
am-
still have things to deal with then.
personally, yeah, I know self-esteem wise, yes, I do. But
Not
this
even
isn't
your
gonna-
self-esteem, because if you're homosexual, not homosexual, your self-esteem should be based on what you think of yourself, not on what other people think of you.
Well, that's part of the process, I guess.
So, you don't let people beat you down, whether it's a spouse or a friend or whatever. Your self-esteem comes from you, not from other people. And if you live your life and your self-esteem based on what other people think about you, you'll never fucking be happy.
Well, that's a big thing that I'm trying to change, and that's something I've definitely, you know, accomplished in the past. And my self-esteem is way more these days than it has been. My self-esteem now is way higher than it ever has been, but I'm still not quite comfortable with it. And like I said, honestly, if I could change it, I would. But that's not gonna happen. So, I mean.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad that was talked about. If anyone has any questions, I guess you can ask if you want, but. All right.
I'm hoping that your family's gonna be here for you no matter what.
That's awesome.